This is Geopolitical coming at you with another video. What is up, fellas, and welcome to today's video. This is kind of a video I've been wanting to make for some while now. One of the biggest things I noticed when playing PvP, when playing Trials of Osiris, or when doing any sort of PvP event, is the lack of use of meta. And for those of you who don't know what the meta is, we're going to break that all down in the video. And this video is primarily focused on Trials of Osiris and PvP in general, and why it's important to use the meta, and why is it that sometimes you may not be going flawless because you are not using the meta. So that's what this video is going to be entailing. Let's go ahead and drop 200 likes on this video. If you guys find this video helpful and informative, make sure you guys drop a comment and a like, and let's go ahead and get started. Thank you for the mass love and support. What exactly is the meta, right? So the meta is a word that was brought up, meaning the ability to weapons that are currently within the database or within the within overall general of Destiny. As you guys know, every now and then we get a weapon update. So we had we had an update a couple years ago. Then we had the one that just came out recently, which is the April update. And what the updates do is they go ahead and tweak certain amount of weapons. So for example, let's say the pulse rifles aren't doing so good, then they go ahead and tweak the pulse rifles. So, the shotguns are not doing good, they tweak the shotguns. And the snipers aren't doing good, they tweak the snipers, and so forth. You guys pretty much get the gist of the idea of the whole tweaking of weapons and trying to balance out the weapons to where every single weapon or every single type of archetype gets a little tweak and makes the game a little bit more enjoyable for everybody, but it also gives you the ability to try different sorts of weapons. Now, unfortunately, one of the biggest concerns with Destiny is sometimes when the tweaking is done, there's certain weapons that overshine or outshine other weapons, or certain type of archetypes that are more predominant when it comes to the meta. So, what exactly is this year's meta, and what should you guys be doing when playing Trials and when playing PvP? Now, one of my biggest concerns is, usually when helping people trying to take them flawless, or playing against other good players, or, playing with good players that don't use the meta, because, they rely so much on their skills and don't go with the meta, then that is one of the things that affects your outcome of Trials. A lot of you guys might be going 7-1, 8-1, or you get 5-1, and sometimes what could lead to your downfall within that concept is the fact that you're not using the meta. So when should you use the meta? Why should you use the meta? So that's going to be primarily broken down in different maps. There's maps that require you to use a shotgun. There's maps that require you to use a sniper. But this video in its entirety is not about that. We're going to probably do a video kind of going through each individual map and what guns you should use and what guns you shouldn't use. But right now we're going to be talking about it. So what's the meta this year around? We have the following. We have pulse rifles, hand cannons. Those are the main ones. And in the third tree right there, I'll definitely go ahead and put scout rifles. But overall, in general, in primaries, you have pulse rifles, hand cannons, and scout rifles. I mean, if you were to rate them between 1, 2, and 3, of course, hand cannons, pulse rifles, and scout rifles would probably be the main, kind of hierarchy of 1, 2, and 3. So why should you be concerned about this, and why is this important? Now, does this mean that you could use any pulse rifle, any hand cannon, or any scout rifle? Would that be effective? Would that work? And the answer to that is no. And that is one of the things I see that kind of hinders players to actually becoming very reliable or being effective in Trials. Just because the pulse rifle is the meta doesn't mean you can use any pulse rifle. Just because the hand cannon is the meta doesn't mean you can use any hand cannon. So going with the meta is using the top tier weapons within that archetype to go ahead and give you an advantage to actually being able to, be effective within the game. You may not be a very good player, but if you use the meta, you will get more kills than if you don't use the meta. So right now, the top tier weapons, of course, you got the Paladron, which is the top tier hand cannon as of right now. Of course, you got your Luna, but we're talking primarily about this year. So mainly top tier would be the Paladron. As far as pulse rifles, you got 2 sets of top tier. Of course, the Clever Dragon if you have high caliber rounds, and of course you have the Grasp of Malik. And as scout rifles, you have the Mida multi-tool, and you have the Burning Eye, which are the top tier scout rifles. and the ones you should be considering on using. So that is all the meta. If you want to use a hand cannon, if you want to use a pulse rifle, you guys want to use a scout rifle, you guys know what to use in that sense. So if you're going into trials, then you guys know exactly what weapons to use as far as primaries are concerned. Now secondary, we have the following. We have the sniper rifles and shotguns. Right now the king in this one, if I were to rate this from 1 to 3, would have to be shotguns, snipers, and sidearms. I know most of you guys would probably put snipers above the shotguns, but the reason why we're breaking that down is because if you guys remember during the April update, those snipers got a little debuff within the shotgun, and the shotgun has a little more of an advantage at the current moment. So that's the meta at its stance. You could use sidearms. Sidearms are actually pretty good. I'll have a video regarding sidearms in a little bit, going a little bit more into detail within the sidearm archetype, but right now you have shotgun, sniper, sidearm. Now the thing here I want to point out is this is one of my points exactly that I want to make within this meta system. If you are not a good sniper, if for some reason you're not amazing with a sniper and that is not your forte, learn to use a shotgun. Learn to use a shotgun. I see a lot of people, they're okay with the sniper and they're so infatuated with the sniper, that they don't let it go. And, sometimes you just got to learn new things. Sometimes you just got to learn to become good with a shotgun, just because that's the current meta that we have right now in Destiny. I mean, we really don't have a choice where we could say, hey, you know what, I'm just going to go ahead and stick to this gun because that's the only gun I want to play with. Now, if you're playing for fun, then don't get me wrong, you can play with any gun that you guys want. This is just for people who are struggling to be going flawless on trials or struggling in PvP. And not playing the meta would probably be one of the reasons why you might be struggling. If you like sidearms, if you like all this, like little things like that, yes, sidearms are good, but you actually have to know how to use the weapon in order for you to be effective with it. But before you go ahead and venture out to any sort of different type of archetype of weapon, become good with the current meta. If you don't become good with the current meta, you will be struggling when it comes to trials. So please, guys, do bear with me. If you aren't good with a sniper, become very, very good with the shotgun and then pick up the sniper. If you're so primarily focused on sniper, practice sniping, but make sure you guys know when to switch from a sniper to a shotgun, because it's going to be very important for you guys to go ahead and learn to use the meta. Now, this doesn't mean these are the guns that are always going to be primarily within the concept of Destiny. This comes from a person who, the whole year one, I never played the meta. I mean, I was anti-meta. I played with whatever gun I loved. Year two rolled around. I got a little bit more involved in trials. Was trying to get a little bit better in PvP. PvP wasn't my forte when Destiny came out. I'm still working a little bit more on PvP, but I've learned that if you don't use the meta, guys, you are hindering yourself from actually doing well in Crucible and doing well in Trials of Osiris. So that pretty much wraps around the video. I don't want to cover the heavies because, of course, rockets and LMGs are just the only two ones we could actually pick from, and you have swords. But that one, the heavy round is not so much of a big deal when it comes to Trials. You pretty much, the majority of the time, heavy round is usually mostly used as bait. So that we're not going to be covering that, but just in general, that is the video I wanted to talk to you guys about. Let me know if you guys have any opinion regarding the meta. I don't want to hear opinions like, oh, I hate the meta, shotguns only, no one uses primaries. I don't want to hear that concept. What I do want to hear feedback from you guys is, if you had a chance to talk to Bungie or one of its developers and say, you know what, you guys should definitely take a look at this archetype, like it could be assault rifle, it could be fusion rifle, it could be, not pulse rifle, but enhance the scout rifle, and stuff like that, or make the sidearms more relevant, or make the sniper back to the way it was, and all that stuff. If you guys are trying to go ahead and you were able to talk to one of the developers, what guns or what type of archetype would you guys want to see enhanced? One thing I didn't mention is the top tier weapons currently right now in the game. When it comes to secondaries, of course, the Matador is the #1 shotgun in the game. Snipers, there's a couple snipers, but definitely would have to highly recommend the Event Horizon as one of the best weapons currently right now. Of course, you could always have your trusted longbow if you haven't gotten one already, but that's just the gist of it all in general. So guys, don't forget, if you want to go ahead and stay competitive in Destiny and in Trials, Make sure you guys stick to the meta. Don't forget, if you found this video helpful and informative, make sure you guys drop a comment and like. And don't forget, guys, for all things Destiny,